Childhood, growing and developing years of a person, this is meant to be a highly important time to create morals, fundamentals, and skills necessary to be a success. Instead, the trauma CPS creates in these young minds set a path of disaster, and statistics prove it. In nearly 90% of their cases, the trauma is unnecessary. Time is the one thing that can never be given back. CPS takes away moments in life that can't be replaced. The time just keeps going, doesn't mean a thing anymore. They left as children, and it's up to them when they come home if they know who you are. Each second away is time you will never get back and keep getting older.
Studies are leading towards incarceration.
Now comes the honorable judge in the halls of justice, where the Constitution will hold strong and your rights to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness will trample CPS for all they have done to your child.
The truth and corruption that's revealed to you is enough to make you sick. This is not America we were sold.
Children are being taken from families at the rate of 1 a minute. It needs to be stopped.
It's time to wake up and abolish CPS.
Psalm 127:3. Children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward from Him. This suggests children are a precious gift from God to be valued and cared for.
In the United States, a child a minute is taken into DHS, CPS, and so on custody. The reality is their picks are already selected, you just don't know it. Being perfect no longer matters. It's what the adopting families are looking for.
Who is it stealing the children, you ask?
From caseworker to the White House, the buck stops at all levels, just not where it is supposed to be. The services your family needs, we the people have paid for to ensure your reunification. Title 4 says, reunify at all costs. United, we stand means nothing to us when it comes to family values. Children are being ripped away from their families. Parents are reverting to addictive behaviors to cover the pain. The trauma caused by child removal is just being recognized, and the results are atrocious. Termination of parental rights is not healthy for anyone, just profitable for the people enforcing the lie.
It's time Washington listens to the cries of our children, the wails of their mothers, and the rage growing in the fathers. These are our children. Keep your damn hands off them. We are coming to act on the behalf of the children God gave us to protect, and you kidnapped.
In the United States, CPS makes upwards of $3 billion per day on trafficking and selling our children. The corruption may start with the caseworker, but goes through the judicial system, passing the governor through the Senate and into the White House. The entire system has a hand in the business known as CPS.
Our children are stolen every minute of a 24-hour day. They are being robbed of their innocence, their trust, their happiness. As parents, we are isolated and betrayed by a government we trust. States are balancing budgets on kids' lives. Only 12% of the kids taken will be reunified. Title IV funding is being riveted with fraud.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of CPS Victims Hunting for Justice. I am your host, the CPS Punisher, and I do not have my hat on. I want to first and foremost welcome anybody. We are now on Twitch, and I want to welcome any of you guys that are on there watching us tonight. I want to thank you for joining us. It's really cool that you're doing that. We're really excited to be there. And don't forget to like, subscribe, tell your friends about it, share, do anything that you can to promote the show for us and for anybody else that's could potentially have CPS in their lives, might have CPS in their lives, or do have CPS in their lives. Child Protective Services, people, is no freaking joke. And the key to winning this whole thing is first and foremost is education, right? We got to be educated in this. We need to know what we're doing. Right. So once we master the education part of it, we're going to go into attack mode. And that's where we're at right now with this show, with hunting justice. We are hunting justice. And the way that we're going to hunt this justice is with all of you guys, is we're going to attack Title IV funding. That's what we need to do. We need to point out the fraud. We need to point out the unjust money that's being spent. We need to point out the illegal money that's being spent. It is just a broken financial conundrum that we need to point out and say, hey, listen, guys, they're collecting money off of the kids that aren't even supposed to be taken from homes. They're collecting money off of these families that are wrongfully losing their children. They're collecting money for things they shouldn't be collecting their monies for, because Title IV funding is about reunification, keeping people in the home, working through things, providing services. And this is what they're not doing. So this is fraud, people. So I need you to email me at abolishcps.com@gmail.com. Again, that's abolishcps.com@gmail.com. And we've got a letter that we've put together. Obviously, you just need to get a copy of it, and then you start submitting that to anybody you can that you may even remotely think has authority over doing something to CPS. We need to start spreading the word that these people are fraudulently spending the taxpayers' money, our hard-earned money. I mean, what the hell do any of us even pay taxes for, right? We gave them our kids. We gave them our children. They're still taking our tax dollars. Why, right? Why? So they sure as hell aren't going to be taking my hard-earned money and any of your hard-earned money and our kids. And be doing that with fraudulent stuff. No way. No ma'am, no sir, no nothing. Make sure, too, that you guys throw some things up here in the chat. We like to be interactive with you guys. We've got Mrs. American Pie on here. How we doing, Mrs. American Pie? We like to answer you guys. So please, if you've got questions, please feel free to put them up here. But at this point, I'm going to bring in my co-host, Melissa. Melissa, how we doing?
I'm good. How are you tonight?
Well, today was a mixed emotion day for me. I don't have very many of the days where I get upset, because we're in this so much, and this, we're in day in, day out helping people and talking to people all day long and all night long. And, this is like a 24-hour thing. But today, thinking about my daughter got to me, and instead of being upset, I think I've passed that realm. I was pissed. I was really pissed that these people were able to steal my daughter, that these people are able to keep your kids from you after 2 years without even going to another hearing with all of the people that we talk to all day long and all night long, that they've done this to all of these children. This is bad, bad stuff that these people have done. And today, I've always had that inside blood brewing, I'm mad. Today, though, I was really, really freaking pissed. And I said, you know what? Let's take the gloves off. Let's take these gloves off and let's fight. So, like I said, I read the letter yesterday. If any of you are out there and didn't hear the letter, I can read it back. Just put it up there in the chat section, and I'll make sure that I do that for you guys. The chat section is, of course, is right here off to the side of the screen, depending on where you are, who you are. Make sure you can ask questions, do what you want. Just remember, we're not lawyers. We are just better than average, educated, unfortunate parents of CPS fraudulent activities and wrongful terminations.
Well, we're probably better than your lawyers, because at least we'll help parents.
Oh, yes. Melissa, you got awful today.
Yeah.
So,
my Bluetooth wasn't charged.
oh, yes. All right. So, Melissa and I have been talking a lot, and it is this Title IV stuff that comes through the pike. And Title IV says that it's reunification, it's services, it's fixing the family unit, it's doing everything without a cost to take the family out. But it also says that every 6 months, they're supposed to have some type of a review phase, which allots them to release more money, right, Melissa? And that's where that goes. So here's the problem. What about, and here's the other piece. Here's a couple of things that I found out. I'm sorry, I'm so excited about passing this stuff on. I'm forgetting a couple of things. Also, it says when termination of parental rights is put up, when it's on the ticket, no bueno. No Title IV funding at that point. But in the state of Maine, which our guest is here from tonight too, and where I'm from, I found this little write-up that I thought was irrelevant about the guardian ad litem. In that it says the guardian ad litem is to be appointed when there is an adoption or when there's an adoption in play or the termination of parental rights are in play and there needs to be representation of the child. But I'm sitting here thinking the people I talk to, most of them would get them GALs right at the beginning of time. The GALs come in as soon as your attorneys, your court-appointed attorneys or public pretenders or whatever you want to call them are. So they usually come in about that time. So let me ask this. Why are they given guardian ad litems when the lawmakers only allow them to be funded from the point of a termination or an adoption? Brings me forward. They're playing games. They're playing games with all of this. How many of you out there were put into TPR status, within 2 to 3 months, or maybe even right now, right as it started? So, put that up in the chat too. Please let me know.
Well, Darren, ain't it obvious why they issue a GAL right from day one? Because the intention was termination right from day one.
Correct. Yeah, which means that no dice, right? No dice, Gino. We don't get to get that money. CPS doesn't get to get that money because they're not trying to give us services. They're not trying to promote the services. So please email us, abolishcps.com@gmail.com. Get that letter and start sending it in. Send as many copies as senators, congressmen, news stations. I don't care who you send it to. Send it. Someone's got to listen. And there's a lot of us. It's time, like we said, let's take these gloves off and let's fight back. Let's fight back. Let's take down their funding. The hell with trying, I'm a staunch believer in abolishing this system. Absolutely. And I've got the plan. I got the on the website. I've got a 32-page bill that shows how we can abolish this thing, rebuild it so that it's right for the children, where we don't treat victims. We don't treat the victims as victims, which these are the kids. Like these kids are getting treated like trash, and they, in all reality, are the victims here. I mean, these kids deserve the utmost best that they can make out of this time, because they're the ones that the trauma is affecting the most. And we're not doing that. They're being held up in these buildings. They're doing all of this stuff, all under the fact that they're never coming home. There's a 12% reunification rate in this country. And I don't care, you want to argue with me that? Go ahead, Mr. DHS and Mrs. DHS worker. All you have to do is do your math and find out how many kids you brought into service and how many of them that you let go home to your families, and you'll all find those numbers. It's not rocket science. It's not some theory. It's simple math, and it's right there. So you people need to do this, because these are facts, and you need to pass this on. If we're only getting a 12% reunification rate, then they don't get any money. They don't get any money. They can't take any kids. They can't take any kids. They get no money. See how the system works? So work with us on this. Work with us and be one with this. Let's take this attack to a different level that no one else is trying to fight. No one else is trying to go this route. There are a couple places that are, but let's be the forefront on this. Let's be the fighters in this, and let's do this goddamn thing so we can get our kids home. That's what I got to say about that.
You definitely must have had a riled up day, because you're a lot more hot around the collar than typically.
Yes. So what do we got tonight? Who do we have on the slate?
Well, so one of the families that I've worked pretty closely with, Kim, is here with us tonight, and I believe Chris said as soon as he got a good signal, he wanted to stop in and see how things was going.
Right
So
on.
if you'd
So
like, we could go ahead and bring Kim in here, and she could tell a little bit about her story and the fraud in it.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's get Kim on in.
Hello,
Hey,
Melissa.
Kim. How you
How
doing?
are you? I'm okay. Had better days.
So, would you like to give everyone the short of your story and how the system has screwed your daughter over and what got us to where we are?
Oh, it's Chris.
Yes. Well, this is child number 4 they have taken from her.
Oh my God.
Yep. And she just doesn't know how to fight, or didn't think she could fight. We was not educated enough to realize how terrible these people are. They took my grandson December of 22, and he actually is in a foster home 2 miles from me, and just found out he's being abused, being abused in his home from another child, an older child. My grandson is 4, and they'd never told my daughter or myself. I happened to find out a little bit from him, and then I actually mentioned it to the social worker. They removed the child out of the home, but they never did anything to the family that he's with. Another 10-year-old boy was sharing a bedroom with my 4-year-old grandson.
That seems appropriate right there, right? A 10-year-old with a 4-year-old, perfect strangers. Nothing could go wrong there.
Exactly. Well, everything went wrong.
Of course.
And to me, the foster family put the children in imminent danger.
You're damn right.
And they've done nothing to that family. Nothing. There's been a lot of complaints, and not just from me, but other families, about these people, and they don't do anything to them. So I have been active with this situation since he's been taken. I have filed for guardianship, and I did just receive an email tonight, Melissa, from my lawyer that he has submitted his, thing that to revoke
his notice to withdraw.
Yes, but he also said that I have a hearing coming up because I'm contesting guardianship. He said, which I'm not contesting guardianship. I don't understand why he stated this.
Oh, maybe it was just a typo, and he's saying they're contesting guardianship, meaning the department.
No. They're saying I have court May 10th, and I'm not supposed to be in a hearing a guardianship until May 20th.
Well, that would be a good excuse to take a hop, skip, and a jump down to the courthouse and go ask them what the hell's going on.
Right. Yeah, so that will be first thing Monday morning. I'll make sure I'm there. You know, it's a lawyer that's supposed to be fighting for me that's actually fighting for DHS.
Of course they are. Every one of them. Every freaking one of them. That's all they do. They lead you, and we've been talking about this. They don't set us up for the appeal at all. They don't give us any sort of meat and potatoes, if you will, to get into the appeals process. They just want to give you the bare bones, the bare minimums, nothing to argue. Period. They just walk us down that road to make sure that TPR that they're going to get from you is legit. And when you go to that appeals court, you got nothing to argue. They don't put any facts in that case. They don't put any arguable information. They put nothing into your case at all. It's just as vague can be. That way you have nothing, because in that appeals case, you only can argue what took place in the trial. You can't argue anything else. So unless your lawyers put in what took place in your case and you argue those things, you got nothing in that appeal. And that's exactly what these public pretenders do. Exactly.
Yes, everyone. Yeah, it feels like I'm fighting the enemy with another enemy.
Right.
Well, and honestly, Darren, to put a little more fact out there about her case, the judge, while the department removed the child without giving an affidavit of harm, they did not hold the 72-hour hearing within the timeline they was supposed to. There was never any allegation of current abuse or neglect of any sort or any type of imminent danger. She has drug history. They kept referring to history and even outlined in their paperwork that the history was greater than 10 years. So their justification in the case was pretty foobarred.
And they took their first child because of marijuana,
which is legal in this state now.
Yes.
You can't even go 5 miles down the road without getting a pot store now, you know?
Right.
You're also talking, that was what, 15 years ago, Kim?
Yes.
Yeah. And Christina was just a young girl at the time. She wasn't even at the age of majority at that point. She was really just a teenager herself. And because she got caught high, they pretty much forced her into signing off her rights. And that's what they've done all the way up to this point, is keep pushing her to sign off her rights. And the problem is Christina's so mentally mind-fucked over the whole situation that every day I expect Kim to call me with some kind of trauma-type news because Christina's in a bad way. So if there's any praying people out there, she's definitely someone who needs prayers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's very, very depressed. She doesn't know.
She reminded me of a few things.
So when I got involved in this case, which was around Christmas time, just before Christmas, the case was scheduled for a termination of parental rights to take place, I believe, December 18th. And I was able to go in and file 7 motions, I believe.
Yeah, you did a very good job.
I was able to make enough waves that they had to stop, review the case, and take notice. And due to that, and being able to work with Kim, who's been wonderful to work with, we've been able to get her guardianship paperwork filed, get her in line to be placement for the child. And the judge is actually taking notice and paying attention and has laid down the rule to the department that they better not come to her with bullshit, that if they have an allegation against Kim, that it better be fact proven, not just hearsay bullshit, because they've already made it clear they don't want to hear hearsay. Because the motions that I filed, which required the judge to hold hearings, that she kind of skipped holding the hearings on were ones that if we go back and do the equivocal of a mandamus, the judge could be in a bad way. So the judge is kind of standing up and trying to do the right thing at the moment.
Well, didn't they actually target her before they ever went to investigate her? Didn't the judge sign something?
Yeah, well, before they ever investigated, the judge signed a right to investigate. But before they removed the child, they needed to submit paperwork of emergency removal, set up the 72-hour hearing, and submit a supporting affidavit of the imminent danger. There was no affidavit. The 72-hour hearing occurred 42 days later. I mean, it was just a shit show.
And another friend of mine just had their kids taken a month ago, and their lawyer told them that they didn't need to attend the Jeopardy hearing, and they've never been through this, so they didn't go.
You know, they do that a lot. They do that a lot. They do that a lot up here with this in the 72-hour hearing. They also try to waive you to going to, because they say that where it's a hearsay level, at least in Maine, it's a hearsay level of information that they rule on. So they don't want you to go in there and give them any sort of arguable facts that are being supposedly that are to be ruled down the line. God forbid you go in there and you try to argue the fact that you shouldn't have had your kids removed and that you shouldn't be on this BS that they're putting you on, right? Like that's it. But you believe these attorneys for what they say to you.
Well, my lawyer stated because of the abuse my grandson just went through, and my daughter was never notified, or myself. I said, well, that's probably grounds there for a lawsuit. And my lawyer spoke up and said, if you're not careful, you'll be the one getting sued. And that's when I said, you're fired. And I hung the phone up.
Yes, you trumped him. You're fired.
Yep, that's what I told him. You're fired.
Hey, Chris, how you doing tonight, buddy?
You know, I've been better. I keep hearing these stories over and over again about children who are suffering. And, you know, and I start being reminded of the suffering that I experienced as a child myself. You know, like, I have verified abuse from before and during foster care. And, you know, it's a shame that if a child is coming out of a traumatic situation, or if a child is being taken away from good, loving parents, in both instances, these state agencies are putting the children in dangerous situations and abusive situations, and so it's just insane that these things have been going on for so long. So
it'd be really nice to somehow stop it.
Yeah, well, not only is it insane, but how is this not major news? I mean, even the amount of news that's coming out about it, you know, like, but hey, P. Diddy has a little, sex trafficking thing, and let's stop the world. You know, we're going to talk about this, but in reality, this is going on every day in all of our lives. You know, like if we don't know where our kids went to, you know, all of these foster children and the people that have been taken in the system and out are all talking about, you know, their lives are horrible. You know, statistics are showing what's going on with these kids that dealt with this trauma of removal end up being alcoholics, drug addicts, prostitutes, all of these things. All of these statistics show that what is going on is wrong, and nobody pays attention. They just turn their blind eye, and until it happens to them, and I'm one of those people, honestly, you know, like, I don't know where I would be right now if this didn't happen to me. So I'm just as guilty, and this is why I push so much for this, because I know there's so many like me. But, you know, we got to get this education out there. We got to get people to realize that this can happen to them.
Right.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't matter. If, ands, buts, what you do, rich, wrong, indifferent, doesn't matter. They are coming after everybody because the money for them keeps coming as more and more they take the kids.
So what other things can we do to stop this?
Well, I am organizing a worldwide strike, and I am trying to get as many people involved as possible. But I feel like, you know, the only way that we can truly end this is if we all stand together. And,
absolutely.
You know, and if we hit their pockets, that's where we really hurt them. So if we
Yes.
all stand together and we pull our money from the banks, stop paying into corporations, and and take our time, stop going to work, stop paying taxes, stop going to court, and then just spend that time, instead, just like during COVID when everybody was home, but instead of being home, just being outside in the streets and telling our stories out in the streets, going to the courthouses, the Capitol buildings, the sheriff's office, the police, all the police stations, all of the, even if just outside on our front porches. And I'll be in DC, organizing and rallying people around the Capitol, and the Department of Justice, the Bar Association headquarters, the offices for all of our representatives there in DC, and just trying to get this word out, and trying to get more and more people involved to stop contributing to them and stop giving them money because they're just using it for human trafficking.
Yes. And Darren, isn't the state of Maine under a big investigation?
The state of Maine
it's been under many investigations.
Yeah, we're bad up here. People think that Maine's all nestled away up here, like everything's great. Do you know that we are the leading? This is a stat that blows my mind. We are the leading state for abuse and neglect. Not only are we leading that number, we are double that with a population that's much, much lower, but we are double the amounts of California, of LA. I mean, LA almost has more of a population than Maine does. And, you're telling me, come on. This is not what happens in this state. This state is built on family values and family services and, working together and being, out in the farms, out in the woods, doing this stuff. This abuse and neglect doesn't happen like this. But up here, we have the organ trafficking happening. I mean, this is big business up here, and everybody just thinks, people don't even know where Maine is half the time. Like for real, you go out on a vacation, they're like, Maine, where's that? Over by Texas? People don't have a freaking clue, And then
this social worker that's there, she's friends with this foster woman. That's why there's nothing being done.
Right.
That's very familiar to me.
What was it? What were you? Well, take us to when because you were a foster child, right? You were put in the system and everything.
Yeah.
What was it like when your family situation? I don't want to bring up a lot of things for you, but like when you were taken out of your home, what was that moment? What was that like? That feeling like that? It's got to be scared. Like it's got to be just intensely. Like I don't want to bring it up if it's gonna hurt you and get you upset.
Well, no, I'm an open book, and I've been talking about these things for decades. So yeah, it's fine. With me and my situation, I was definitely being abused, and it was to the point of torture, and I needed to get out of that home. But unfortunately, the Department of Children and Families did not intervene in the sense of stopping me because of the reports of abuse. And my self-reporting of abuse, and instead it was due to it was abandonment. And when I went into foster care, it was part relief that I was no longer in that situation where I was being put in life-threatening situations every day. But at the same time, I was ripped away from my sisters. I was ripped away from all of my other family members. I was put into a home that was abusive, and all of these kids who were in this house were really weird, and they were all weird, because of the way that they had been treated and raised. These foster parents that I had liked boys a certain age, and they stacked them in there, and they used I don't know what kind of brainwashing and manipulation tactics they used, but these kids were weird. And then in that same home some months later, I ended up going back there because I got out of there because their biological son got violent with me. And I left, and I went to a payphone and called 911, had the police they took me back there. And then my caseworker came and put me in another home. But I ended up going back to that house for respite. I think it was actually a couple of years later. And the foster parent had a boy that was there who was in his 20s. And he had a helmet on his head. And he was, mentally ill, very low functioning. And he came off of his bus and he would walk inside the foster home, and then she would guide him to the bedroom, and then she'd take leather straps and strap him to a wooden chair, and then leave him in the dark strapped to this wooden chair. And when he would start crying and moaning out of fear because he's strapped in this chair in the dark, she would come in there and beat on his helmet and scream at him. Now, I had that foster home shut down. That was the first foster home I had shut down when I got out of foster care. But, you know, those sort of things happened. And, you know, considering the fact that I was abused in that home years before this guy was abused in the home, and all these kids were obviously abused in this home. But that was the first one I had shut down. Another one I had shut down, they put the kids in there, like two people could not stand up in the room. The bunk beds were in there so tight. And, you know, the roach infestation was appalling. But the inspector of the homes, there's an inspector that comes in, supposed to come in and check the home out. She was friends with the foster parent. So when the inspector would come, she would just come inside the front door. They'd sit down and have some tea at the little couches right there at the entrance. And then she'd turn around and walk right out the front door, not seeing the massive hole that was in the wall, the massive roach infestation, the locks on all the cabinets and the refrigerators blocking any access to food, and the extremely tight conditions because the beds were so close together because they were just packed in there. And
how many did you say?
Yeah, so, you know, and that was another thing I witnessed. That was the second home I had shut down.
How many kids would you say were packed in there? You keep saying packed in there. Ask how many kids would you say in the house?
Depending on the situation, there were anywhere between 4 and 8 children in one room.
Wow. Through all ages?
The mixed ages. And, you know, the mixed ages caused abuse in another home that I can remember in particular, where I was all of 12 years old and the other boys in the room were, you know, 15, 16, 17. And, you know, they would bully me. And, you know, especially considering at the time I was overweight, and it was due to all of the psychotropic medications they put me on. I was gaining weight. I didn't have a metabolism. And these boys would pick on me, and it caused, you know, all sorts of emotional distress in that time. And then there was another home that I had shut down where there was no adult in the house whatsoever. The foster parent actually lived in another town. And this home was one that her father had hand-built, or grandfather something had hand-built back 100 years ago. And the water was red and it was just dripping out of the faucet. You couldn't drink it. There was no food. All of our food came from the food bank. And you know, but it was in a neighborhood that was extremely poor. And, you know, I would struggle to try and turn beans and frozen leftover KFC from the food bank into a meal for, I think there were 8 of us in the house with no adult. The youngest was, I want to say the youngest being 10 and the oldest being 17. So, and, you know, and that was another home that I had shut down. So,
how many homes have you had shut down?
I think it's just those 3. Okay. I think those 3, because the other ones I was having a hard time remembering a lot of the things. So I was drugged up really hard in foster care until I met my one decent foster parent. So I took 33 homes to get there.
33 homes you went through. 30. Now, I know that you said that you left because of an abusive and torturous situation, but they took you away from a torturous situation and put you into a more traumatic, unstable, unsafe fight for your life.
An abusive and exploitative situation.
Right. So it's almost like, this is what I'm saying. Like, they're taking these kids that are victims already and making them more of a victim. And that's not right. Like, this shit needs to be a lockdown. These homes need to be perfect and beautiful, or they stop pushing for the money with the foster kids and use the kinship things like they're supposed to be doing, putting them with relatives that are in the circle. They're not doing that.
and putting money into the family to try and help them grow and fix these issues that are within the family, instead of just exploiting the family and trying to draw out and take advantage of the fact that they're in a vulnerable situation.
Right.
Now, I had asked if I could have because they're looking to replace my grandson because of the abuse with somebody. And I said, well, where I've already filed for guardianship, could I have him as an emergency placement? And they told me no, because I was going for guardianship.
Jesus. Why wouldn't you hurry up and get that kid in that? Why would you not hurry up and get that kid in that position? Now get him
exactly.
Get your grandson in there. That makes sense, right? Because I'll tell you what.
Well, the department does not want to concede her taking possession of her grandson. So they are, going to move him into another home versus saying move him in with family.
Yeah, they don't want me having him.
No, they don't. Chris, do you have a date for your thing in Washington that you're talking about?
What's that? What about it?
Do you have a date yet for your
June? We start June 1st, and it ends when our kids are home.
I like it.
So I actually had a call recently from a young woman, and she was sold for sex and molestation by her father and mother. And as she got older, it was exposed, and she went into foster care. Her caseworker was selling her also.
Jesus.
Yeah, this 10-year-old boy just molested my grandson.
And what's so hard about all of this is we want to, and this is what I try to tell people too, when they'll call me up and be like, hey Darren, they're doing this and they're doing this. I slowly roll. There's nothing that you can do. There's nothing. As much as you want to be the parent and take them out of that, they're not going to reset their situation because your child was abused in this home. Because a lot of people under their mentality think that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get my kid back now because they're going to do this, which it should be the right thing, especially if you're parents like us that are on here that, don't even deserve what we got. But that should be the right thing to go and console your child, but it's not. So people need to make sure that when this goes on, that they don't derail their own cases thinking that they're going to try to get their kids back because they've been abused, and then they lose track of what's going on in their case, and then they just get side railed. It's just such a nasty, treacherous train wreck of a system. They
put kids in abusive situations. Kids who are already have gone through hell.
Yep.
Yeah, this foster family has done everything they can too to keep all of us away from him. Like I was allowed to go there to visit, and I went to 2 visits, and they made up a lie, so I didn't have to go back. So I couldn't go back to their home to visit my grandson. And they did it with the grandfather as well. They said the grandfather smelled like alcohol. He's never drank a drop. He does not drink.
Yeah.
And they made up a lie.
And Darren, to add insult to injury to Kim's case, don't forget she paid out $35,000 to an out-of-area attorney that we'll leave unnamed, and he never even filed appearance. He never even contacted the state about filing an appearance, and what he did was delay, and then he stuck his hand out for more money. And that's when I went up to Maine and tried to fix things.
Yeah,
but at that point, the case was like at the point of no return.
Yeah, thank you, Melissa. You really have been a huge help.
Yeah, it's just, this is the other thing, is there's so many groups out there that are, this is the most vulnerable a parent or a child who's trying to seek their parents or find them. There's the vulnerability in this situation is ginormous. I mean, I would give anything. If someone told me that they guaranteed that they get my kid back, I would give my life to make sure that my daughter come home to my wife, at least, absolutely I would, and a lot of these people out here are fraud. They're scandalous. They're just out here, especially when they're hitting you in the realms of, give me $50 and I'll do this and this. Just be weary of who you're asking to help you, and assist you, make sure that you do your research on these people. Make sure that you look, look at the references. It's very easy in this day and age to go online and say, I'm going to go to Yelp and, it's Yelp, right? That you can go there and you can look up people and see what they're, like the real stories on these people. There's a bunch of another one that you can go to check on people is InfoSpace. InfoSpace gives you a lot of information that you wouldn't find elsewhere. So make sure that you do this thing, because these people know that we're vulnerable as parents, as children, as all of this, and it's just sick. It's freaking real sick that people are willing to do this. But we're desperate. We're desperate, and we will do whatever we think that, whatever they tell us. There's oceanfront property in Arizona. We're buying it.
I had a good friend of mine was told that they're going to get their children back by CPS. They did everything that was expected of them and beyond, and they never give their kids back.
I don't know what you can do to those people, but hopefully God will take care of them if he does, and he swindles any of you out there that are listening to this. Someone will. The karma's a bitch, and they will get you for that.
Yes.
Well, we've got to just stop contributing into these systems. They're paying them taxes, paying them child support, paying them, whatever these fines, fees, everything. We have paying, giving them our labor, our time, our life. There are children that are being hurt right now while we're talking. And that's why we all have to band together. We just have to stop contributing into this system, because it's turned into just a system of human trafficking. They traffic children, they traffic adults, and the same people that they traffic as children are the ones that they target as adults. And we know this. We know this to be the facts. There's no arguing it.
84% is the number out of the UN. That's 84% of the children that they recover when, in these human trafficking rings have come through the hands of CPS in the United States. And that's a worldwide statistic coming right from the UN. This is
somehow
terrible.
It's going to stop. It's just going to stop.
And we're the front runners in this stuff. We're the front runners. How is that? How are we the leading, the leading nation in this world, supposedly? And how is it that we're the number one leader in this trafficking and the children getting, being harmed? No other country in the world does this to a family unit.
It's because of the 13th Amendment. It's the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment was that compromise between the Union and the Confederacy, that slavery could continue, but it had to be punishment for a crime. So with that, they are taking and punishing people and turning them into slaves for alleged crimes, but they're doing it without due process. We have to abolish slavery. That's the start. The other part is immunity. Immunity, the people who are doing all this all live under blankets of immunity. And immunity under any form is a de facto title of nobility, which is against Article 1 of the Constitution. Titles of nobility are not lawful in this country, but yet every time you have a judge or a police officer who is given immunity and is able to commit crimes without any consequence, well, now you have a de facto title of nobility, which is unconstitutional. Those are the people who are doing this, these people that are living under blankets of immunity. That's why we're not getting any type of justice for any of these crimes, is because they are hidden by the blue wall of silence. They are protected by the blue wall of silence. And that is the issue at hand. We have to abolish the 13th Amendment. We need to end immunity. Now, there is a Senate bill and a House bill that was introduced by Bernie Sanders, of all people, and it's ending qualified immunity. That one has been sitting for years, not getting any. It's just sitting there after being introduced. But if we can get that bill passed, then we would end the qualified immunity for these people, and we would be able to start getting some justice for these crimes that are being committed against families. There is also a parental rights bill that was just introduced in February. And if we get that one in, that will also help us in getting justice. So there's two really good pieces of legislation that are in right now. They've been introduced, but we need to see some movement on them. because with those two pieces of legislation, we can knock out two of the three major battles that we have in this country, and that is that children have no rights, that some people have immunity, and the third one is that we have this mass incarceration problem. And this mass incarceration problem, they have to have people to incarcerate. And in order to have people to incarcerate, they got to fuck up people's lives. And so they're fucking up our children's lives so that they can have people to incarcerate and feed their incarceration machine. So we have to end the immunity, and we have to give parents and children rights straight off the bat. Then we can start getting some justice.
Maybe we should start opening up offices everywhere to teach people.
I have offices all over the United States, and it's something that we can all do very easily. I found a service that's been around, I think, since the 80s called Regus, R-E-G-U-S. And you pay a monthly fee, and you have an office anywhere in the United States or the world for that matter. They've got them everywhere. I think, you know, so yeah, it's a monthly fee. I think right now I'm paying just under $600 a month, but I have an office anywhere in the country. So it's something for anybody who travels, anybody who wants to have meeting space to look into. So you can either rent it for the day for a certain price or a few hours for a certain price, or you can pay by the month. So I'm paying by the month right now. So I'm on the road.
Yeah, we just need a lot of people to, you know, advocate for these children, for all of us, you know.
Well, and Kim, if you wanted, we have an upcoming advocacy training program in Nashville that we will be doing it live online, over and above the in-person. I'll be there for the in-person, because I have to help with a lot of the stuff there. So if you want, you're welcome to join in, and everyone's welcome to join in, because the more advocates on the ground, the more people. If anything, the day you go to court, it's the more people that can be standing behind you holding a sign saying, "Bring the kids home."
Yeah, that would be great. I would love to have a background of people.
Well, I mean, as it stands right now, these courts are absolutely corrupted. You know, these agencies are absolutely corrupted. The legislators know, the executive branch knows, the judicial branch is obviously corrupt. They're all corrupt. The United Nations is aware. The Hague is aware, but nobody's doing anything about it because they're all profiting off of our suffering. And that's what needs to end. You know, there should be nobody who's profiting off of the suffering of children. And any crimes against a child are crimes themselves. So, you know, in order for us to end these things, you know, because any branch of government can end it, and the executive, judicial, and legislative will not end it because they're all profiting off of it. And so it's up to the fourth branch of government, we the people, to stand up, and we have to stand together, and we have to fight back. We have to stop contributing to their systems, and we have to rebel. We have to stand up and say no. Like, these injustices are too great to bear. When you're destroying families and children and trafficking everyone you can get your stinky, dirty, fucking slimy hands on, then yeah, it has to end.
Yeah. So Melissa, when can I join that?
I've got information on my Facebook page. I've got a group page called We the People versus Tyranny. And then I've also got my own personal page, which is Christabel Griffin. And I've got all the information for the strike on there. It starts June 1st. You don't necessarily have to leave home. I'll be in DC. A lot of people are coming to DC. People have already booked tickets, and they're getting their travel plans together to go to DC. But you don't have to go to DC. You can go to your state capitol. You can go to your courthouse. You can go to your, you could go right on your front porch. And but the whole point of it is to stop contributing to their systems, stop giving them money, stop complying, stop allowing them to have power over us, and show us that we are strong. And we're standing together in this, and our children need to come home. And we're not giving them any more of our time, money, effort, or life until our children are home.
Yeah.
And as far as it goes with the advocacy classes that are coming up, I see that Cheryl's on our message board. So it would be ever so nice if Cheryl could post the information on the advocacy class. Because that's coming up here in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know Bangor, Maine is small, but I would like to get out there on the streets and start educating people a little bit. And,
you go next to Paul Bunyan and do it.
What's that?
You're going to go stand right next to Paul Bunyan, right?
Yeah, I'm actually, I live a half a mile from there.
Do you? That's great. That is awesome. What better way to say that we're big and strong than standing next to Paul Bunyan?
Absolutely.
I mean, what a picture that would be. We need to get pictures of you doing that.
That's right. Yeah.
Hey, Chris, you said We the People versus Tyranny is your Facebook. What was the other one?
The other one is Christabel Griffin
Okay.
We the People what?
versus Tyranny.
Now, do you
Yeah,
say
if you go to the
we
Christabel
are-
Griffin, you can find both of those actually. There's the information for the strike is pinned. And, I ask that anybody who's going to attend, go ahead and, pin that post, share it, talk about it, try and get it on other platforms if you're, using other platforms. Spread the word. If you know any truckers, if you know any Teamsters, UPS people, or any other Teamsters, any other unions, and try and get as many people as we can on board with this, because it's going to take an army, because we're fighting an army of evil.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know. Do you have graphics and stuff done for this stuff?
I've got. I don't have a whole lot done because I'm living in exile myself, and so
maybe it's something that we can talk about because that's what I do.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I need some help. Please, I need help.
Yes. All right, that's what I was getting at.
So Kim, Cheryl says that if I get her your email, she'll send you a link, and that way you'll be able to log in virtually, unless you want to hop on a plane and come down to Nashville for a day.
Yeah, you can have my email.
Yeah, so
I'll send
her.
Yeah, it's RoxyLady1966@gmail.com.
Yeah, I'll make sure to give it to Cheryl so she can. So Chris, you gonna try to?
Lemley wrote a message.
This is my.
You gonna try to come out to Nashville?
Oh, I have to make my way from California to DC, so I'll be making all sorts of stops along the way. Meeting up with all sorts of protective parents who are going through hell. So. Yeah, I'm trying to make a tour out of this. I've been doing circles around the United States since October, and really for the last 3 years. But I'll be passing through Nashville again for sure. I love that city. It's a great town.
The time is now, man. I feel like this movement's finally getting some. It's been sputtering for long enough, and I think it's time to punch these bastards in the face and take our kids back.
That's it.
That's it. We're just about out of time, guys.
The person that says I can make posters on there, that would be good.
Yep.
I'm gonna go ahead and give my information real quick. If anybody wants to get a hold of me, my information, my phone number is 904-325-2545. My email address is yourunlawfulactshurtmybabies@gmail.
Yeah, okay. Does anybody have any advice of how to get my grandson out of this abusive home quicker?
Those people want as many kids as possible. They're trying to meet a quota. The federal courts are a way to get remedy, but all of the courts are slow, and they're all run by the Bar Association, which is truly the enemy at hand. Honestly, I feel like our best bet for being able to save the children is to band together and stop fighting individual battles and start working together to win the war.
That's it, man. That's just right here. That's why I just wanted to pack it up, man. Pack it up.
Chris.
They find themselves huge, but take them in a pack, man.
Hello, Chris. Chris.
I'm here. Yes, sir.
Okay. You talk faster than an air traffic controller. What's your phone number again? 904
3
Herbert,
25
I'll
25
text it
45.
to you.
Wait, say it again. 3 what?
25 25 45.
45. Okay, got it.
Yep. Yeah, my phone's on for anybody who needs to talk.
Will you be passing through Phoenix?
Yeah, I'm not far from Phoenix. I have to go through Phoenix.
Yeah.
So
Are you gonna be doing?
I love that town. I used to live there.
You're gonna be doing stuff in Phoenix?
If you're gonna be there, if you want to talk, if you got some people who want to get together, if you want, I'll stop in any town for anyone on the way. I'll be starting to head west here in the next week and a half or so. So it'll be like a 3-week trip.
If I come up with some people, I'll give you a call.
Thank you.
All right, so guys, we are at that time right now. Melissa, you're first on the 3 tonight. Any last thoughts?
Boots on the ground. Everyone keep their heads down and put up the fight they need to. And, it's just kind of what we have to do as families. We need to start more than attacking the individual departments because, for every one department defeated, another one takes its place. I think that we need to just start attacking the fraud of the funding. Kind of like that case, that news case that me and you seen right before the show came on about the 14 workers fired for fraud, for PPP fraud.
Good stuff.
We need to figure out how to start attacking the fraud and maybe even get to the point of RICO in some of these cases. I think through that.
What about judges?
Everybody needs to read The Corrupt Business of Child Protective Services by Nancy Schaefer.
Yeah, yes, they do. Good call on that, man. Good call on that. Well, Chris, it's your shot up here next, buddy. You got last words for everybody?
That's it. Everybody read The Corrupt Business of Child Protective Services. If you're able to, start making plans to get to DC. If you want to, just support us from home. I got the full instructions on my Facebook and the event. You can create WhatsApp groups, carpools. You can start getting camping supplies together. There's all sorts of preparation that we can do, but the biggest thing we need to do is get the word out. So the most that we can do is just get as many people as possible who are on board doing whatever they can do to try and help this cause, because the more people who work with us and who are sick and tired of all of the abuse that we're getting from these government systems and these immune people, if you're sick of it, if you're tired of it, if you want to see some real change, and if you're sick of fighting these battles as a single person against a corrupt system and a corrupt state, then it is time for us to fight back as the fourth branch of government, we the people, and abolish these unjust and unlawful systems that are ruining lives and destroying children generationally. So,
sir. Well,
Chris, I got a question. Chris, what would you want the police to do or not to do?
We need to end the blue wall of silence. We need to end that government corruption. The blue wall of silence is that secret pact amongst officers that they will not rat on each other. And so we need to get rid of that, because the police are committing crimes. And they know that they're committing crimes. They know they can get away with it. But good, honest officers cannot report the crimes that they witness for fear of retaliation. So this blue shield, this blue wall of silence protects the corruption. We have to end immunity in all forms. All forms.
Yeah. They're the biggest gang. The police officers are the largest gang.
They are. They use all the gang tactics. I was gang stalked for years.
Police officers are a legal gang. But my point is, I'll give you a call, Chris, because I'd like to hear more of your take about police officers, because that's what I do.
I've been living it my whole life. I witness all the injustice. I've been pulled over for driving with black passenger. I've been pulled over for being white with a black driver. I've been pulled over for just having a new car. I've been pulled over for being me. And I've had guns pulled on me more times by police officers than I ever have by any gangsters. And, I've been arrested many times for crimes that I didn't commit and interrogated for even more. So I know exactly what kind of gang stalking this is, and I know exactly what this corruption is. They target specific people and they come after them over and over again. And, it's the vulnerable population.
I've been through the same thing, Chris.
Absolutely.
All right, Kim, you're up. Last words for everybody.
Yeah, we need help challenging every state, but we need help here in Maine as well.
Right. All right, guys. Thank you guys for the great show. Thank you, Chris. We'll be all in touch with you, I'm sure. Keep your phone on. I'm sure that it's going to be blowing up. We'll see who gets off here first to call you. So thank you very much for coming on and doing this, and I'm sure you'll be back with us. I would really like that. We want to ride with you on this ride going in. Let's build this thing.
I'm in until they kill me or we're successful, whichever happens.
What is the Facebook link?
Well, don't say until they kill you, because remember, Nancy Schaefer was the first, one of the first to speak out and one of the first buried.
They killed JFK. They killed Nancy Schaefer. They killed MLK. They killed John Lennon. They kill anybody who talks about corruption, anybody who talks about peace, anybody who talks about, trying to make a change, and anybody who tries to band people together in order to go against their narrative. So, I fully understand and I fully recognize the severity of the things that I say, and that they very well could put a target on my head. But at the same time, this is a cause that's worth it. If there was a reason to die, it's for our children. It's for the children. It's for the sake of the future. It's for the sake of all humanity. These are injustices. Injustices towards our children are injustices towards humanity. So we have must fight back. We cannot let these things continue to happen. This system just keeps getting bigger and bigger. There are more and more children being taken every day. We are not making enough ground, trying to fight back by going about it using their methods and their policies and trying to go about it letting their schemes be in control. We have to step up and say, we the people are sick and tired of it. We're fed up and we're done. You are no longer going to be hurting our kids. You are no longer going to be hurting us. And we need to empty out these prisons of all these people who are in there who have no victims, and we need to fill them up with all of these judges and cops and CPS workers who have victims.
I love you, Chris. That's absolutely right.
Wow. All right. I don't even know when to do my last statement, but I got to do it. All right, guys. Thank you very much for tonight, Chris. Thank you. Kim, thank you. Herbert, Melissa, thank you guys very much. I'll talk to you in a bit. All right.
Thank you.
Damn. Man, I was ready to jump through the screen on that. That man's amazing. So make sure you follow that. We'll keep following his goings-ons. That way we can keep you all notified about that. June 1st, he wants to get going on this, so we're down with him. Remember, guys, like we promote here, we promote the pack it up. One wolf is tough, the rest make us the pack. It's unstoppable. Don't forget, right here, you guys can support the stream. We need help. See, we got events coming up like this. We need help with this stuff. So please, guys, support the stream. Go to ballercps.com. We've got apparel. I also design apparel, and I do all kinds of graphic design stuff. So we got the Property of Mom and Dad t-shirt for your kids. If you're under investigation, we got the official CPS Punisher sweatshirt. We got the abolishcps.com sweatshirt. We got the Make Parenting Great Again hat. We got all kinds of stuff to look good when you guys are at these rallies. So make sure you check that out. And all those funds come and help us at the, at events like Chris's. So, and like I said, if you guys have your own groups and you need stuff designed for your groups, get in touch with me at abolishcps.com, at gmail.com, and we will get going on some sort of a design for you and your group, and we'll put it up. I'll put it up for you guys, launch it so that you guys too can start getting your words out there about your groups. Be safe, everybody. Let everybody know what's going on. Share this stuff. Do what we got to do to get by. I'm the CPS Punisher. I'm out of here. Chris, so we're watching tonight. Like, subscribe on Facebook.